Hello, friends and colleagues. This is Pavel Krastev, DDS, and I will be your host for today. This is our sixth public HEX Commission meeting, and I'd like to welcome you all on behalf of myself, Dr. Shah, and the Mothership, which is the Global Summit Organization. For the younger listeners or listeners that are joining us for the first time, I will just very briefly give a little history. So the Global Summit Organization has been around for quite a few years, and our mission is to unite doctors across the world and share knowledge. During the COVID times, we did some revolutionary and incredible work with colleagues from across the world, and we provided partners. So while we were stuck at home, and everyone had the chance to learn and expand their knowledge and network with many colleagues. Also, at the same time, we launched a program called the Top 100 Doctors, which comes following doing work with the Global Summit Organization in the Partners series, and is also a great area where we network with colleagues and exchange knowledge. Now is a big shebang going on next year, and that has to do with honoring all the top 100 doctors, and that will take place in Sardinia, Italy, and it will be in conjunction with the Italian Dental Association and, of course, the Gala. So many of our speakers today will touch up on this in more detail, but this will be a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for anyone to network, to get some CE credits. We're going to have a red carpet ceremony, an award ceremony for all the doctors who are in the top 100, and there'll be quite a few people there that you could all have fun with and exchange ideas with. So more information on that coming up shortly. Now, what I'd like to do is turn to my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Keanu Shah, and he will tell you the whys and the why nots, and just a brief synopsis of the gala. And of course, it's a big honor to have Dr. Shah join us today at the HEX Commission. Dr. Shah, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Krastev. It's been a very enjoyable ride with this group. What started as a small group of 5 doctors now stretches into 142 countries with 700 top doctors that we now have that are experts in their respective fields of chiropractic, pharmacy, optometry, medicine, dentistry, and medical philosophy. Our vision is simple, to create a closed-loop system between doctors where we collaborate administratively, financially, academically in a 3-pronged approach to restore order in the healthcare industry. Our history is thousands of years old, and all of these third parties that have come in the last 50 years have caused a lot of damage to our reputation. Patients don't trust us as much, and although we are taking our time in our practices to care for patients, to work in the community, to do all the good things that we have learned through professional school in our careers, we are isolated. We need solidarity. We need to connect with one another. We need to enable each other. Or it's a very short amount of period left for us to be factory kind workers for the big corporations. After gathering up these brilliant minds from all over the world, it's time for us to get together under one roof, lay it out on the table, and find solutions to all of these problems that we have. So it was decided to do this in Italy, and Dr. Demiraki and Dr. Singh will elaborate on how to come and join us. We are expecting about 1,000 key opinion leaders and doctors. And there's a host of activities, nighttime, academic, strictly academic during the day, and lots of fun at night on each of those 3 nights. And we invite you guys to come. It's our belief that doctors are the chosen people. They're doing God's work. We help people. We dedicate our lives to helping patients. And we also need to now look at preserving our autonomy and benevolence in the healthcare industry. With that said, Dr. Pavel, I yield back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. Those are some wonderful words of wisdom, and I certainly look forward to being there. Dr. Mark Sana, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Krastev.
It's always a pleasure to see you, my dear friend. We've met each other in the past several times, and it's always been very, very educational to hear what you have to say. So, Mark, I wanted to ask you two basic areas that interest me, that I think I foresee you talking about in your discussion with me regarding the topic. So we're in a new reality when it comes to employing staff members, and all the rules basically went in the garbage can during the COVID times. So many things changed in the dynamics of hiring, firing, retaining employees. So can you explain a little bit about that and to what you recommended our colleagues do? And following that, I'd like to for you to discuss something very important. How does one clinician in healthcare, whether you're a dentist, a medical doctor, right, doesn't really matter. How does one know when it's time for them to hire an associate? You know, when to go to the next step?
Well, thank you. Those are great questions. And it's, again, an honor to be here with all of you and to share this platform. And as somebody who's dedicated their career to integrated practice collaboration between physicians, it's an honor to represent the chiropractic profession among such a great group that I admire so much. Pavel, you're exactly correct that COVID changed the game for us as physicians. You know, I did get to meet a Dr. Wayne Dyer along the way, and Dr. Dyer had a wonderful expression. He said, "When you squeeze an orange, what do you get?" And of course, the answer is you get orange juice. And he made the parallel is when you're squeezed, when our staff became squeezed, even our patients became squeezed, what came out? And so COVID was like a pressure meter on us. And what happened is the true expression of many of our team members came out. We began to see a hiring process in such a way that we've never seen in my career, where you'd interview folks, you'd actually hire them and they'd come for 2 days and then you'd never see them again. It was the craziest stuff in the world. And so my point is that it's super important moving forward. Number one, that we're really clear as physicians, as business owners, what are our core values? What is the why that we're there for? And when we understand that why, and we're clearly able to articulate it, we can hire for the why, not just the skill set. We can retain for the why, and not just because somebody's hitting whatever metrics we've placed for their performance in that role, but that we are absolutely creating an environment where we are acknowledging alignment with our values, that we're providing a path of growth. Many, many studies show that folks want to be in their job position for the long term, not simply for the paycheck. Paycheck is important, but because they see a path for growth as a person, growth as a professional. And so it's really key for us to make sure that we're fostering that type of an environment. You know, when they do the contests of the best places to work, 100 best places to work, they do that oftentimes in different areas across the states. The big thing that comes up time and time again is that there's some sort of social consciousness for the organization. And I think that's one of the things that I most enjoy about being part of this group, is because there's a social consciousness that goes beyond delivering the best, the highest quality healthcare, but it's actually empowering our patients to be able to make the best decisions for their healthcare without interference. And so being a part of this organization is something that I'm super, super proud of. I mentioned pay. You know, listen, we are in an economic situation right now, 8% plus in inflation. You want to keep your people and keep your great people, you got to pay them. And you got to pay them so that they feel about that job that it's the best job they've ever had and that they would never want to leave it. And so if there was ever a time for you to be focused on making sure that you're paying your staff appropriately, and I recommend above market, this is the year to do that. Pavel, you asked me about associates, and it's a very, very parallel situation. How do you know when it's time for an associate? Well, number one, it's because the waiting time for a new patient to get an appointment in your practice is getting longer and longer, and you're finding that people aren't waiting and they're looking elsewhere. That to me is a big thing. It means I'm starting to max out my capacity. I also think that when you find that you're too busy working in your practice, like Michael Gerber says, working in your practice, to work on your practice. And that means you stop doing team meetings, you stop doing team training, you stop doing the things that help you become a success in the first place because you're so busy keeping the show going. And so that's another big thing. And
I think it's very important. I mean, I just want to throw this in. I think it also has to do with how old the practitioner is and
Yes.
what level of their life they're at, because energy levels change as we get older. And that may also be a factor. Because when you're younger, you're willing to work much harder and many probably usually longer hours.
And you know, the public doesn't think of us this way, but what we do is physical work, particularly as a chiropractor, dentist, or orthodontist, you're bent over in not great positions for years and years and years. And so it does take a toll. And so thinking about what will your exit strategy be for that practice, right? Most docs don't think about that soon enough. And an associate can very, very well play a role in that exit so that it's a nice, delicate, elegant exit and not getting to the end and saying, okay, closing the doors, I'm done. I'm going to just finish up with one, I think, eye-opening fact. Today, 50%, slightly over 50% of chiropractic students in chiropractic college are female. Now, this is very different from when I first started in practice, and so I'm thrilled to see that. But what it means is as these female doctors enter the profession and they have the dual roles of being physicians as well as being homemakers, spouses, mothers, all of the other things that it comes, your job to provide a place of employment that has flexibility, because you will probably, instead of having a single associate like you might in the past, have two moms who are flex timing and being able to focus on their family, focus on the things that they need to do at home, as well as be great physicians. And this is going to be a game changer in the chiropractic profession. And I'm going to bet that the other professions represented here will also experience that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Your wisdom is always looked upon by many, and people like to learn. So thank you. Thank you. And
thank you.
Let's say hello to Dr. Alan Chong, another older friend that we've had the pleasure of having as a HEX commissioner for quite a while. Alan, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Couple of things that we have discussed a bit and that I'd like to bring up. There are many different healthcare models and the delivery for payments of doctors, etc., across the world. So how do you see that keeping doctors independent from third parties will at the same time allow them to keep their autonomy and still enjoy practicing medicine or healthcare in general? And on a second note, if you can discuss what may be an ideal healthcare delivery system the way you see it. Much appreciated if you can do that for us.
Do we have a couple hours?
Unfortunately, as you know, no, we don't.
So,
We're
so
limited,
just,
but if you could give us a
just,
recap.
yes, for sure. Well, let me start. Excellent questions there. First, let me start off by stating a couple facts. I think we can all agree that healthcare costs are rising, right? Many different reasons. We have aging populations worldwide, and technology is getting more and more expensive. However, there's a balance of all those things. So, a very interesting thing before I give you my opinion, and it's purely an opinion, is that there are three basic health. I'm just going to define it this way. There's three models of healthcare delivery that I want to highlight. And one is a universal, i.e. a public government pay, all access type of system. And I'm not going to give, an opinion. We all have an opinion on which one is best and which is better for you. And I think that is the key, is that there's not one utopian solution to healthcare delivery, because we have all these different parties. But the key is that if the doctor maintains the control, doctor to doctor, and not even, maybe not the word control, influence, positive influence, that we maintain two important things: avoiding conflict of interest in delivery of healthcare as a doctor. And the second is the doctor-patient privilege must always be maintained. Now, in many different markets, and I will refer to the various countries and provinces and states and such as markets, and even within those, of course, there's different sub-markets, and whatever system that appeals to you as a doctor, and even as a provider of various types, universal is public, mostly government pay, the have and have-nots, which again, we don't have time to go into. The second, after universal, in no particular order, is the private system. And many people consider that the private system is more the American system, where user pay. And I looked up some statistics and did some research that 90% of Americans have some form of healthcare insurance, whether it be publicly funded, government, or private, third party, etc. Again, no judgment. I'm going to refer to that as the private. So you have the universal system, the private system, and then what I will term as the hybrid system is more of what we experience here locally in Alberta, Canada. The province of Alberta is a co-pay, where the government pays some things, and then third-party payers will pay some of something sometimes, and then the patient pays usually the remainder, or if they have zero insurance, then they pay the whole amount. So universal, private, and hybrid systems of healthcare. Which is better? I'm not going to make that judgment. You can make your own judgment. However, I will, to address the question, how do I see that doctors keep as independent as being the best way to guide and influence the system, is that, again, those two important fundamentals is avoiding conflicts of interest with third parties, as well as owners and providers and the business of healthcare, which I've mentioned many times. I love to talk about the business of healthcare because governments don't seem to realize it is a business, and we have to be profitable or else we're out of business, right? As Dr. Sana, my colleague in chiropractic, has said. And then the doctor-patient privilege, which is, I will say, is being compromised these days because of third-party interests and owners directing from the top, perhaps stretching the boundaries of avoiding conflict of interest. So, our regulatory bodies try to rein us in different advertising, marketing, and all these different things, including fees, perhaps. But the more private the system is, the more latitude there seems to be in that. For example, in Alberta here, Canada, again, it's not universal and it's not private. It is a hybrid type model. So I can set my own fees within reason. And again, it's market. And then I can also have, upscale those fees depending on fee categories, et cetera, et cetera. But I am not bound to fee codes. So that's the brilliant thing that I love about our model. Now, if I was to sign certain contracts, then I would be subject to fee code models, in which, again, in a hybrid system, I'm not making any judgment. You make your own judgments as a doctor, how that serves you, because there is a need for a one salaried type of doctor. The UK is an example. Now, let me just quote a couple facts I dug up, and if you want the reference, it's Peterson KFF Health System Tracker, and they're supposedly a nonpartisan independent. Now, the interesting thing is the USA spends about 19% of GDP on healthcare in 2020. So this is presumably pre-COVID statistics. The UK, for example, is 13%, and the average of sort of high income nations, which includes Canada, Switzerland, Sweden, Japan, the total amount per capita spent is in the USA is almost $12,000 per person per year. That's federal expenditures, apparently. And in contrast, the average of the countries, of the so-called wealthy countries, is half of that, 5,736, according to this source. Half of that. Now, why that is, we don't have time to talk about that. But the healthcare economics suggests that different markets have different dynamics. And I think the bottom line is that we need to be sure that doctors are able to be doctors without being under duress, avoiding conflicts of interest, which is, an independent doctor's ethics, professionalism, and morals, etc. And then the doctor-patient privilege must always be maintained. So, quoting a few numbers and what is the best system? My job is to present what I've researched and feel strongly about, is that universal healthcare is great, but it can be highly compromised with long wait times. So I always believe that the hybrid system, where a patient can choose to pay if they want to pay, or they can enter a semi-publicly funded system like Canada, like the USA. But should the governments be mandating what must occur? I don't think so. So that's governments and other parties. So this is where, what is the solution for us as doctors to doctors? Not just to have a discussion on that, but to be leaders and to influence decision makers. And that means doctors need to be on more panels, more government influencer channels, however they be, not just lobby groups. That's the thing I'm tired about, is lobby groups make the decisions for a lot of governments. And so the more money you have to lobby, the more influence you have. And that's a serious problem. So as doctors to doctors, we need to fight against that by being involved with the people. There's a ton of influence right here on this screen. And we need to be positive influences to make that doctor to doctor and doctor to patient relationship well again. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much for the insights that you share with us. I think these are such complicated issues because each country and every province, and there's so many variables, different standards of living, different costs of just everything, healthcare, and it's extremely challenging to, I think, come up with idealistic rules. I mean, big job. Most of us in this panel, there's one commonality that seems to come out when I look at everyone's topics. It's all about sharing. It's all about networking with other doctors and staying connected. In this way, we can actually make things happen. It may take time. It may take a lot of work, but that's the first step, connecting with each other, sharing what we know, having open discussions that are transparent, and that's how we move forward. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
One last comment, if I may,
Sure.
is that this was not a paid political announcement. So that was based on data and well, in my opinion, but it wasn't political. This is bipartisan, it's nonpartisan, if you will. And the other thing I want to say is that, for example, each one of us on this screen and our other colleagues have different. If we were to bill per hour to present, well, this would be a big, expensive production. But we volunteer our time. We try to be influencers, hopefully for the best reasons, and that is for the best patient care. And that's what Global Summits represents.
Thanks again, Alan. Now I'd like
You're
to
welcome.
move forward with Dr. Robert Pick. Bob, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Pablo. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my name. And time to unmute.
It's always a pleasure to see you. And most of you folks out there know Robert Pick is he's very involved with the Purple Cow Wow. And of course, today's a Purple Cow Wow kind of day because we're all together having a wonderful discussion here that can potentially affect most people in healthcare. So, Bob, ethics and excellence. What a great topic. The two go hand in hand. The power of relationships, the power of building them. It's all yours, Bob. Fire away.
Thank you. And first off, as everybody else sort of said, what an honor to be here. And not only a shout out to Pavel for being the moderator, if you will, but I think a big shout out goes to Dr. Shah, just one awesome Purple Cow Wow human being. To think to put all of this stuff together and then put all of us together going forward is something always has been so important. And just, wow, don't ever stop. And so very, 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 very cool. So again, honored to be out here with everybody. So let's jump into some things that I think are very important. By the way, I'm sure the link will be below or something, but don't forget about the World Gala. You got to be there. Or as the mafia would say, you got to be there. So let's jump into stuff that I think is very, very, very important. And when I lecture, I never thought I would be in business management, but something that I always talk about is ethics and excellence has to precede and be with you in everything that you do 24/7. And as Pavel mentioned, that I also in 20 million years never thought I would be known as the Purple Cow Wow guy. And Purple Cow is something that's huge. She's with me all the time. But Purple Cow means, again, with ethics and excellence, sticking out from the crowd in an amazing way to separate yourself from everybody else. And, on my Facebook group, Purple Cow Wow, I talk about that all the time. I interview people that can help our profession and any profession elevate, which is huge. And one of the most amazing things we have today, especially being what I think is the oldest one out there, that's so freaky, is social media, the internet. It allows us to do things that we couldn't do 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. But ethics and excellence is huge. Whenever I lecture, I have a fun, as I'm rolling in, there's a thing that says excellence and excellence, and due to the awesomeness of PowerPoint, the screen's open, and I say, let's go. And the first thing everybody sees is a funny kind of graphic with the dude in purple, ethics and excellence always. And when you can show this, the one in purple keeps going up and down like this. And of course, the other one is learning. So ethics and excellence has to precede all that you do. And I talked about purple cow means sticking out in an amazing way. And matter of fact, about a year ago in a publication called Dental Economics, I had gotten a phone call from the editor about a month before it came out. He goes, "You're going to love our cover." It simply said sticking out. And there was like a yellow bird or something, and every other bird was blue. But for anybody watching this, here's a homework assignment I want you to do. I want you to go to your Facebook page, your Instagram page, Twitter, your website, and I want you to see what's on there. You got to differentiate it from everybody else. And everybody always says something, the same thing. Everybody always went to the most prestigious dental school, graduate top of the class. We do Invisalign, this, that, intraoral hemorrhoidectomies. But what do you do different than anybody else? And it becomes important. And as Dr. Chong said, we live in a very interesting world today. I personally have and we have the ability in so many countries to do what you want to do. I've always been what's called fee for service. I want to deliver the best therapy that I can to my patients and not be restricted by anything else. So one, that ethics and excellence is always first in everything that you do. And I've always been honored to be on staff at Northwestern. And one of the residents from like 20 years ago called me and says, "Oh my God, you don't know this, but that used to leave your lips all the time." And I sort of went like that. So with ethics and excellence always first, let's jump into something that is so important: the power of relationship and relationship building. It is one of the most amazing keys to success. And what we talked about here before is also huge. Dr. Sana talked about the why, and that comes from the one and only amazing Simon Sinek. And every one of you, if you haven't done it, you need to get together with your team. You need to do team building retreats, and you need to figure out why. Every dentist, every chiropractor, every pharmacist, every psychologist knows what they do and how they do it, but most don't know why they do what they do. And I agree with Simon Sinek and Dr. Sana wholeheartedly. When you know your why and you've taken the time to figure it out, everything goes vertical with jet afterburners on. And jet afterburners, man, that it's a feeling that I can't explain. So everything's got to be that way. So with relationship building, you got to love yourself first. And when I lecture, I do something that I'm going to do right now. I want everybody to put your forearm and your sort of wrist right by your lips, just like this. Come on. There we go. Alan, put your arm up like that. All right, everybody kiss yourself. So there we go. Pretender, I love it. Dr. Singh, you rock. So you got to love yourself first, because if you don't love yourself first, you can't love anybody else. It's just that simple. And as docs, pharmacists, wherever we are, you're treating patients, but you're treating with a team. And team is huge. Together, everyone achieves more. We don't have time for it here, but you got to pick the right team. You got to pick the right team with the right personality profile for the right position in your office. Because if you don't have the right team with the right personality profile and understanding personality profiles, it's not gonna happen. Team is huge. And while we're on team, here's kind of a fun thing everybody should do that just engages. And, Mark said it best. Your team, man, you got to take care of them. It's huge. And start a group team text. And if we could show slides, I'd show you cool stuff. I don't know where I came up with it. We started it, 6 years ago, and we have rules. We don't text after like 8 o'clock. We try to keep them in on the weekend, but all kinds of fun things we can do. Oh my God, you guys this is me now. Oh my God, you're amazing. Love my team. I can't believe how everybody rocked it yesterday. Lunch is on me Wednesday. Don't bring lunch. Love you all. And we'll get great responses. And it could be somebody's like, oh my God, I have a flat tire. I'm getting a few minutes late. So group, team, text, something else that allows you to begin to intermingle and allow great discussion with your team. Team is huge. And despite a global sort of almost recession right now, in my humble opinion, we're living through one of the most unprecedented times in our human history. But Mark said it spot on. If you know your why, if you have an awesome team and you know what you do and how you do it, I don't care how bad the economy is, patients say yes with 100% treatment acceptance. And if they don't accept it, usually there's something financial, but you can work that out. And I know I'm on a rant here, but it is true and it works. And I want everybody to be so super successful that just, wow. And when you become successful, you have to build what's called twin towers. I talk about as a dentist, as a dental specialist, when you graduate school, it doesn't matter if you're a chiropractor, physician, pharmacist, you have sort of like a basement and a first floor of knowledge in your clinical tower. But every month, every day, every year, with ethics and excellence always first, you got to build the next story, the next story, the next story, and the next story to get taller, taller, taller. At the same time, with ethics and excellence always first, you got to have a business tower that gets taller, 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 taller. Because if your business acumen is not on par with your clinical skill, as we say in Chicago, you and your team ain't going to succeed to the level that you deserve. And it's just important. So both towers got to roll, ethics and excellence, and you got to be a clinician first, but you got to wear your CEO hat. But you eventually, if you work on it, you want to have your towers get so tall that even your worst competition looks up and goes, holy moly, that's one architectural purple cow. Wow. And while we're on relationship, this may be the most important thing of all. You and your team have to understand the personality profile of your patient. And as specialists, you need to understand the personality profile of your referring doctors. I don't want to belabor here because it takes too long, but very quick, in 2 minutes or less. There's many, many personality profiles. I personally like DISC, D-I-S-C. And D stands for driver, my way or the highway. And, I don't talk politics, but Trump, my way or the highway, huge. So it's his way or the highway. If I'm in a preclinical interview with Trump and I go, let's talk about significant detail, I want to give you 37 studies, he's going to go, what's wrong with this dude? So bring that the guy on America's Got Talent, stop, get out of here, you stink. Driver personality. I stand for expressive. I wonder what my primary personality is. And Dolly Parton, Jim Carrey. Expressive personality. You got to know how they operate, how they work. And then there's S for steady relator. And as you notice, I quieted my voice. I'm not necessarily as loud. I don't care what religion you are. I use the Pope as a classic example, a steady relator. Wonderful, honest ethics. And then C stands for calculating or analytical. Mr. Spock. When we put the implant in your jaw, it's going to be 0.076497 microns to the next bone cell, and they're called osteoblasts. And if you'd like, I'm going to give you 47 articles. Wow, that would be great. So if you understand, you can't be something that you're not, but if you understand that disc, you increase your relationship with the patient. And if I have an analytical, I always make sure my reading glasses are on because it makes me look more analytical, but I understand it. And as a final thing with relationship building, whole other topic, mentors. One of my mentors early on in 1985 taught me the power of something called the preclinical interview. His name was Pete Dawson. He passed away about a year ago now. Pete, thank you so much. But he said to you, Pick, if you don't do a preclinical interview, I'm no longer going to mentor you. And it's where we meet every new patient in a room about half the size of an operatory away from the dental chair. So I can look at that patient one-on-one. Okay. And, hey, Pavel, Bob Pick, how are you? Nice to meet you. And tell me why you're here today. And one question leads to another. And it goes from there. It can take 2 minutes, 5 minutes, a half hour. We don't rush. But every one of my team members knows disc cold. As an example, one of my assistants, my lead surgical assistant, Sonia, God, she's been with me 31 years. And as Mark talked about, when you take care of your team, they're not going to go anywhere. And that comes from relationship building. Every one of my team members knows personality profile cold. People first on phones will usually pick it up. And you can support it by, they may take the phone new patient call. Oh, wow, this one's analytical. They know by the voice tone. Patient comes in and filled out the medical history, computer analyst. So when Sonia brings that patient back to the preclinical interview room, sits the patient down, we let them sit there for a few minutes to look at the room, wards, and she'll come to me and go, oh, wow, you got a big analytical. Better get there on time and be prepared to be there for at least an hour. So the power of relationship building, and always ethics and excellence first. And when you do that, you're going to win in every scenario in life. You can tell my passion. I love my team. I love everybody here. This is the coolest thing on planet Earth. It doesn't get any better than this. Dr. Shah, thank you so much. Dr. Krastev, thank you so much. Love everybody here.
I wanted to wish Dr. Pick a happy birthday on behalf of the Global Summit Organization and the HEX Commission. And Bob, we love you. You're very special to all of us. And hopefully you have a very successful and a great and a healthy and a happy one more year and many more to come after that. And thank you for your insights.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Dr. Shah. So happy birthday, Bob.
Thank you. It's awesome to be 39, man.
And it's very, we appreciate the fact that you took time on your birthday to come and do the show with us. That's very,
Thank you.
And with that said, I'd like to say hi and introduce Dr. Raquel Zira, also known as the Lady in Red. Hi, Raquel.
Hello.
Oh, look at you always. You never disappoint, That's why I call you the Lady in Red. Raquel comes to us, guys, from Portugal. And she is very, very involved in many aspects of dentistry and surgery, but she has also done quite a bit for women in dentistry. She will discuss that in a bit. But you've pioneered also, Raquel, some things with forming sort of a union type of environment for dentists and colleagues in Portugal, where, from what I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you give doctors more power by uniting and enable them to do things.
So thank you.
Tell us about it, yeah.
Sorry for my voice. I'm a little bit sick, but I will try my best. And I'm very happy to be here with all of these people. And happy birthday to Dr. Pick. And thank you to everyone for making this possible, especially to Dr. Paul Krastev and to Dr. Keanu Shah, because they created this movement and put all these people together from the four corners of the world. And it's so amazing how people sometimes don't even know themselves, but with social media and with some goodwill and with some interest in the profession and wanting the best for the profession, we can do better for us and for others. So thank a lot to Global Interdisciplinary organization for creating this movement. And I will talk a little bit of some aspects that I think are really important nowadays, namely the gender equality. Because we know that probably 30 years ago, we only had men in the dentistry field. And in oral surgery was really quite rare to see women. Nowadays, the things are completely changing and the paradigm is changing. And we need also to change the opportunities to women in dentistry, and namely in oral surgery. That is my area because I'm an oral surgeon from Portugal. And I had to fight a lot to get where I am today, because it was a very sexist ambience. I know that is kind of a cultural thing, but nowadays, at least in Portugal and in most of the countries, 70% of the students in the medical field are women. So we need to change the paradigm, because in a few years, we will not have educators, not people that will be in charge of universities, of research, of unions, whatever. So we need, it's not equality in terms of having access to the profession, it's equality in having presence in chief positions, in ways that we can influence other doctors and the new generation. Because for me, as an oral surgeon, it was quite difficult to get where I am today. But I hope for my daughter will be easier because the mentalities are changing. And nowadays, and for a few years, from 2014, more or less, we started to create some organizations, some groups, some associations to promote equality to women, equality to allow them to be on big stages, to allow them to be showing their work, because it was very closed environment. So some people, not only me, but I'm one of the ambassadors and one of the leaders, created these movements like the Divas in Dentistry, like the Leading Ladies in Dentistry, like Women in Dentistry, that somehow try to empower women, try to help people reaching their goals, help people to not being afraid of showing their work, and showing that it's possible for a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur that has all these things to balance that sometimes is not so easy, to strive and be an international leader, international speaker, and have a great career. it's easy, is not. For my generation, it wasn't at all. But I hope with all these movements and all these ways of promoting equality, we can reach somehow at least some equality in terms of chief positions and big stage speakers and universities, because as I said, we have to change the mentality, because otherwise in a few years we will not have people in front and to lead this new generation. Another topic that that I will talk about that is also important, and that's why many people call me the lady in red, and thank God we have 3 ladies in red here. Not only because red is my favorite color, but because I created a Facebook group sharing knowledge about surgery, and surgery is all about blood and red, so life. So that's why we created the Follow the Red. That is a group that is dedicated to surgery. It's free. Is really a sharing platform for everyone, because it was the way that I found to start sharing my knowledge and my clinical experience as an oral surgeon. And this came because we also had a group that was dedicated to perio, that is Follow the Pink, and another one that was dedicated to aesthetics, that is Follow the White. So that's why I start playing, sharing my cases, hashtagging Follow the Red, and then we had the idea of creating the group that has more than 15,000 members, and it's a great way for people to interact, to networking, to share knowledge, to share articles, to share clinical aspects, to share congresses, to share some podinars, some webinars that we did for free in the COVID time. And we tried to maintain everyone very interactive with one another, because it was a bad time for everyone. And in some countries, it was really bad. So we have people from all over the world sharing and caring for others. And this is one aspect that I think it's important. Also, because of the sensation of helping women, we also have groups called Divas in Dentistry Group. That is a funny name, but it was a way of creating some awareness of this topic. We also did some congresses that we only put women on stage. We don't want to be feminist, we want to be realist. But it was a statement that is possible to have very professional, very high succeed women, very well educated women doing a conference only with women on stage. And this, we have to change the mentality. We don't need ratios, we don't need any rules. We only need to give value to people that have value, not because they are women or men or white or black or yellow, wherever. So equality is one thing that is really important. Also defending the interest of the peer-to-peer movement, the doctor-to-doctor movement, because, for instance, in Portugal, dentistry has around 30-something years as dental medical doctor course. And only 2 years ago, me and some colleagues created the union, the syndicate for dental medical doctors. How it's possible for a profession that is living for 30-something years don't have a union to defend the aspects of being a professional, to protect the youngest doctors that are entering the market and sometimes are being exploited and being like totally invaded by big groups. So this is pro bono work, like Dr. Shah, all of people here are doing, but we have to do something. We need to do something different, so the consequences will be different. So gender equality, religion equality, race equality, giving opportunity to young people to have decent conditions to start working, to being at least basically paid to do what they do and not being explored by groups because there are no rules. So that's why, for instance, in Portugal, we create the syndicate, the union, to create some rules, at least, to defend these new professionals. So everyone has to give a little bit, and if everyone will give a little bit, everything will turn better. And we have people here from all over the place, all over the countries, different experience, different areas, different expertise. And if we all together can share this, and we will make a better world in terms of professional and also in terms of peer-to-peer and doctor-to-doctor movement. So I really want to say that next year will be the first year after the pandemic that we are going to be all together presentially. And I really want everyone to join us in Sardinia. It's going to be an amazing event scientifically and clinically, and also in terms of some meetings and gala dinners, and all this movement will be together, and it will be a major event to do networking and to be a part of this movement that wants to create a better professional and academic world for all.
Raquel, thank you so much for that wonderful discussion. Certainly, I mean, we all must see women and men equal when it comes to our professions, and you know, we're both people. I mean, we're equally talented, and clearly the demographics in dentistry have changed over. Just I look back when I graduated 30 years ago, and how the numbers have changed prior to what it was before then, and how they are today. So absolutely, I mean, I think we live in a modern society where I don't think it's even a question if you know, but healthcare professionals are healthcare professionals. It doesn't matter and race, gender, base, where you come from, where you don't come from. Listen, we do our jobs, and we educate ourselves to do our jobs prior to that. So this has to be acknowledged across the world, that men and women really, we don't compete for who's better and who's worse and who's above who. You know, that shouldn't be the case. We're all equals. So thank you so much, Dr. Raquel, and I look forward to seeing you at the Gala in Sardinia. That's certainly going to be a very exciting event for all of us. So with that, I'd like to turn to Dr. John Kriak, another veteran of the organization here. Welcome to the show, John.
Hey. All right. Welcome. All right. So anyways, thanks for having me here. This is just all fantastic. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's always a pleasure. Okay, go ahead, John. Go ahead. I'll say
I was going to say, the pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is all mine, Dr. Krastev.
Yeah. So today you have a very interesting assignment, as I understand, and you're going to be talking about the multidisciplinary care team approach, which with emphasis on improving how we provide healthcare to our patients. Clearly, and as I mentioned this earlier, but in this whole segment on the show, I noticed that there's a couple of things overlapping each other, and that all comes to unity, sharing knowledge. I hear teamwork a lot. I hear the networking between various specialties coming together, and ultimately that's so important. So please let us know your thoughts.
Absolutely. So, I mean, one of the things that I even want to think about is this, I'm a professor at a medical school, and, I am the PharmD, right? I'm the pharmacist, right? But we've got physicians, we've got chiropractors, we've got folks from all over different specialties teaching our doctors. So where we sometimes lose things, on a clinical perspective is that, it's all on me. I'm the one that has to do it. But that is absolutely not the case. I mean, if you take a look at the brain trust that's on this call, for example, okay, and then expand it to others. I mean, like I said, I'm a pharmacist. I think I'm a pretty good one. I know the medications, but whenever I have a patient that's in front of me with some type of a complex condition, it's going to need a physician. The patient may need a chiropractor. There may need to be a nutritionist. Okay. The patient may need to be sent off for dental, whatever it is. And we're all part of the team. And so, when you think about it, the reason why all of us are here today, and in my opinion, it's one word, and that's patience. Okay. We are all here to serve. We are here for the betterment of mankind, not to sound like too much of a cliche, but I mean, we are here to serve and to treat our patients and to do better across the board. That's why I'm here, and I presume that is why all of us are here. I mean, none of us would have entered our perspective fields of medicine if that's not what we were doing. Okay. So anyways, with that being said, so now let's take a look back, at the whole thing with respect to the multidisciplinary approach, right? So, again, it's, I'm starting to see it a lot in the hospital setting, where, again, there's a team that rounds in the morning. Okay. Now, that's in a hospital setting, and that maybe actually has been going on for quite a while. But then what about employing that approach? What about having a network of clinicians that one can reach out to whenever such a situation arises? I can't tell you how many times on a daily basis I will get a call from somebody that says, hey, I got this difficult patient, I'm having trouble with their drug therapy. Okay, well, that's just my little local microcosm of the world, right? I am here, but imagine if we could establish more. And, and I think that is one of the directions that we're seeing here is, doctor to doctor, right? We are looking at each person. We all have our own, specialties. We all have our own talents. And now if we can merge those for the patient. So, I kind of really just wanted to, maybe get some feedback and, see, Dr. Krastev, maybe any follow-up from the group, if there's any other questions or any other comments. Again, I'm all about keeping things interactive. Oh, but first I've got to say to my good friend, Dr. Pick, happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so, John, this was fantastic points you bring up, and I couldn't agree with you more. One problem that I believe exists out there is many of us sometimes have a little bit of an issue when we refer out because we feel like, gee, we want to do everything. We want to be able to fix this and that. And sometimes we get ourselves in trouble because we have to each know where our limit is. And that, I think, is nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to look down upon yourself. Yeah, I always strive in my practice to always do what's the best for every patient. I have zero ego issues when it comes to referring when necessary, when it comes to getting advice by a phone call or calling a colleague or a friend, or one of you for that matter, and asking for your opinion or advice in a particular situation. And very often, if I can't come up to the realization that, listen, there's something that needs a higher up level of expertise and experience, I refer out. So that's key. And I really appreciate everything that you had to say. I think Raquel wants to say something. Raquel, did you have your hand raised up? I guess not. Anyone else want to add? Yeah,
Dr.
Kriak as well. Thanks.
Dr. Kriak, I was just going to say quickly, how would you say to foster those community relationships, because those are going to be probably your referral basis as opposed to, anybody's welcome to call me within reason to consult me on spine. However, that's not likely a reasonable referral. It drives me crazy, for example, when the MD, who is the primary care physician mostly in the area, says, go see a chiropractor. Excuse me, don't you have any more selection than that, as opposed to
Right.
so partly, how would you recommend we reach out and our listeners? That's a very ground, very basic skill, I suppose.
So I'm thinking of things along the lines of maybe a national and or a regional type of level, with an organization where that you can do that, where you have a group of individuals that are dedicated to putting on, to doing that, and again, that is a good comment. Speak to a chiropractor, speak to a pharmacist, go and see a dentist, because you know what? I mean, for lack of a better term, all healthcare professionals do not operate at the same level, so I think that there is a need for a national, global type of organization, because where clinicians can feel comfortable reaching out to the best of the best whenever they have that difficult patient. Like, for example, if there is a very difficult type of patient, and when I say difficult, I don't mean, they're a difficult person, but I'm talking about the fact, like it's a difficult type of case. It's a doctors only type of organization, where it's clinicians that are collaborating. It's just, we are on the precipice, folks. I mean, we are there. I believe Dr. Sarna wanted to make a comment as well.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to piggyback on what a great idea I believe doing grand rounds interprofessionally would be. I think that's awesome. I find most often that we don't refer to each other simply because we're not communicating with each other. It's not that we're adverse. We hear this all the time from medical doctors referring to chiropractors. It's not that they think poorly of you, it's they don't think of you at all. And so all of us truly have to take the responsibility to get out of what I call the four walls of our office and get into our communities and meet and network with other providers so that we can begin to learn each other's specialties, learn each other how we can collaborate and work together. And when that occurs, it's only the patient that benefits.
Amen. And I could not possibly agree more. I think we're all on point. I mean, this is just fantastic. So again, hey, whatever we're doing, however things are moving forward, guys, count me in. I mean, and again, it is, like I said, it is all for the betterment of mankind with a focus on that patient that's in front of you.
That's very important, and I love that you guys all jumped in and chimed in your opinions on this issue. And it's key, because each one of us, or each of the specialties out there, they focus on one organ system, one body system, one particular area of a particular system. Sometimes when you start to get into some super high specialties. So it can really become, it's a sea of knowledge that I don't think it's reasonable to expect from one individual to know everything about everything. It just doesn't happen. And with that said, thank you so much again, John. And now I would like to turn and welcome our dear friend, Dr. Gurian Demiraki. Dr. Demiraki, hi, welcome to the show.
Glad to be there with you. And thanks again for inviting me in this, I don't know how many I've done till now. And thanks again to Dr. Shah for gathering us together. It's really the motto that is driving us, and then the rest of us are going with. It's something that we really, really like, and it's something that we do with passion. And going back to Dr. Kriak's discussion, it's all about the doctor-to-doctor communication. If you do surgery, as some of us do, it is needed that most of the time we treat patient, 360 degrees, because we don't, it's not that we are just focusing to one tooth or something. But it is important in each and every other profession, so to say, regarding medicine, that everybody should communicate with one another. There is nothing wrong and nothing harm can be done if you communicate with another colleague. You give him the honors he deserves for the knowledge he has, and you get the honors you deserve for the knowledge that you have. So you exchange opinions, you become better every moment. So
that's a very good point you bring up, and you can continue to expand on it if you wish. But I also want to let the audience know that you've been assigned a very
at a couple of hours, you know. But the problem is, I'm here to speak about something else. And if you want
to, I want to get to that. That's why I wanted to explain. Interrupted me. Dr. Gurin has a very important mission. He's going to be talking a lot about the gala and give us a lot of details and information about the inauguration and the award ceremony, because he's the one running it. So I know you wanted to jump over me and tell the audience about that, so feel free.
So, well said, Doc. It's a great honor for me to, you know, try to collect all these doctors together in under one roof. And what a roof it is. It's the Mediterranean, which is, according to most, the cradle of civilization. And we are in Sardinia, which is somewhere in the middle of the Mediterranean area, the second largest island in the Mediterranean Sea, which is one of the most, you know, nicest places I've been. It's an island, a very big island. And last year I had the pleasure to be with a couple of friends, Dr. Singh and Dr. Shah. There, I was a speaker in their 11th International Congress. And we liked the venue, we liked everything there. We liked the hospitality and everything. And after, you know, spending a couple of days, this idea came up. Why shouldn't we organize something big here? And when we say big, something like this. What do we want to do now? We are trying to gather the leaders in doctors, the leader doctors in medicine, pharmacy, dentistry, philosophy, optometry, and chiropractic under one roof in our first World Doctors Gala. We are hoping to have around 1,000 doctors there. Half of them or more will be key opinion leaders. And we have, as we said, more than 120 countries or more now from all the continents. And all of these people are going to gather around and are going to, you know, have to be together in one island. Why is that important? Well, actually, in this gala, the 100 top doctors of 2023 will receive their very merited award. But all the other doctors of the other years' top doctors are all invited in this event. So the classes of 2020, 21, and 22, they are all invited as, and if you see the social media, everybody is, you know, happy and excited for this event. What we are going to do there? Well, we're going to have a red carpet event, like the ones you see in Hollywood, hopefully, because I believe doctors deserve that too. Not to disrespect actors and the, you know, the business they are doing, but I believe we are more important. I believe we are doing much harder jobs, and I believe we deserve the respect that we will going to have in this event. It's going to be where in the gala we're going to have a cap and gown ceremony in which these doctors will receive from the regents of the Global Summit Institute and the HEX Commission their awards as top 100 doctors of 2023. And having all these doctors together led us to, you know, another very important, which is, so to say, the most critical part of it. We want to have a big discussion with all these doctors together about the future of medicine, dentistry, and all of the other medical connected professions. If you have all of these opinion leaders there, I believe much can be learned, and all will have the possibility to, reach out and say their opinion and help in whatever way they can to this global initiative. There will be much more than that. Of course, it will be networking on a large scale. You will meet friends and colleagues from all over the world, and it will be grandiose. It was very good last year, and it was not in this proportion. And believe me, this year it's going to be much, much better. At DACE, you're going to have a congress, which is a very professional one. There are about 75 speakers already and more to add to that. It's the 12th International Congress of the Italian Dental Association, with the title Focus on Simplicity of Excellence. And in this Congress, already there are 30 accredited hours to get, and already a couple of hands-on and more. So you are going to learn a lot about what's currently going on in the professions of dentistry and medicine. And more of that, you are going to have the possibility to be together with all of these opinion leaders and so on, and discuss about these matters that we are discussing here, but in a very, very large scale. I would actually go on to discussing about much more, but I believe there is a couple of other friends who are going to contribute to the event that want to, say their part of what we are doing here. Only one phrase to finish it. I have seen the light. Yes, those who have seen the video will understand what I mean. Those who haven't seen this small video representation, I'd like you to take a look at it. It's going to be enlightening. Okay? Thank you, Doc.
Dr. Gurian, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to see you, my dear friend. And thank you for all that information you shared with us. And of course, I'll see you there. And having said that, I'd like to turn to our also old veteran and friend from the Global Summit Organization, Dr. Sonia Regina Aykroyd. Hi, Sonia, and welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for Kianor for making all this happen. It's an honor.
So, Dr. Sonia, we briefly had a discussion as to what you'll be talking about a little bit. I kind of wanted to give our audience an idea as to what it's going to be, and then I'll turn over the podium to you. Okay? So, Dr. Sonia will be discussing healthcare providers having a new vision of cooperation with each other as a team. Again, teamwork comes to play here, as I mentioned so many times today. And the focus should be, but she will explain about how we can holistically treat patients as opposed to in the traditional approach, or a combination of the two. So, Dr. Sonia, if you don't mind, if you can also explain to our audience a little bit, in your opinion, how you view traditional treatment of patients versus the holistic way, and what may be lying in the middle there.
Yes, I have some kind of pre-prepared flow that I would like to go through, and I think that will make it really clearly. We'll wrap up nicely at the end. But basically, just to answer your first question, even the new strategic plan of the National Institute of Health, I think, is kind of now realizing that integrative health is an important thing. So when we talk about holistic, we're talking treating the patient as a whole, and that's the whole issue. And the new strategy of the National Institute of Health extended definition, and they include now treating the whole person health for improvement of their well-being, should incorporate multiple interconnected domains, which includes biological, behavioral, social, and environmental. Now, when you're talking about using multiple interconnected domains, we should be talking about multiple interconnected doctors. And so one of the problems that I've seen that actually, can I continue? Okay. So to have a holistic approach in healthcare, we have to go back to treating the whole individual, not just parts of it. So today you go to a doctor, oh, sorry, I'm a hand doctor. I am a dentist, I treat only teeth, or I treat a heart. And specialization brought us great advantages to healthcare. However, it somehow fragmented our approach to medicine over the years. Now, a patient has to visit a number of doctors before they even get a diagnosis, and then another number of doctors to get treated. So the other thing, as a dentist, and I know the majority of us here are dentists, I know, although I love this approach of the Global Summit Institute to invite physicians, invite chiropractic practitioners, invite pharmacists, because we are now working very closely with them. I mean, in my way of approaching, I work closely with chiropractitioners, work closely with ENT doctors. But we still, I think, as a whole, healthcare providers, like in the country, we still have a long way to go before we start maturing this. But I'll get into that in a minute. Now, as dentists, we know that many diseases and syndromes are first manifested or identified in the oral cavity. We have strong evidence of the involvement of the periodontal disease bacteria P. gingivalis in Alzheimer's disease. We know now there's established a link between poor oral health and cardiovascular disease. So there are now also growing evidence of sleep disorder breathing caused by underdeveloped jaws and anxiety and attention deficit disorder and bedwetting in children. And these people are being treated by psychiatrists. So the whole body is interconnected, and this is the whole thing. That's what's holistic. We have to start seeing them, our patient now, as a whole person, and stop thinking, I'm a dentist, I treat you here. Actually, I have a very strong feeling about this, that we should stop. I think dentistry should go back to the blackboard, and we should be all doctors, medical doctors. Then I specialize in what? How I am an ENT doctor, how I am a heart doctor, I am a dental doctor, or I would say craniofacial doctor. And because this also break the barrier, because I've seen in some societies, I lived in 3 different countries. I lived in and worked in Brazil, UK for 8 years, and I've been in America for 7. And I know that's also can be a bit cultural, but many times there is this barrier because, oh, I am an MD doctor. You are a dentist, you're a chiropractor, or whatever. People make hierarchies. Now, let's say if there is no more hierarchy, we all doctors. Now, what there is a specialty. I'm specialized in chiropractic, in pharmacy, in dentistry. I don't know, maybe utopia, but I think that's how you should do. Then maybe we break the barrier of communication and protectionism in the healthcare professional. Then you say, okay, I can talk to him. He's a doctor just like me. Because I see that this communication barrier from some of the doctors I talk to, especially here in America, I don't know if it's, maybe I talk to the wrong people, but they say, the dentists say, the doctors won't talk to us. Or they see us as lesser, so they won't talk to us. Now, I just said to you that most oral conditions, health conditions, start in the oral cavity. So I'm seeing that firsthand, and I cannot talk to the doctor, the MD, or whoever is going to treat some of the systemic condition because he won't talk to me because I'm a dentist. This is crazy. So continue on this. You can see that we are kind of involved all the way with the care of this patient. And many times, most time, I would say, the manifestation is in the oral cavity, so we are the first one to see it. So how we tell them? How do we tell them? We need to tell them. So communication is important, like somebody raised here. But then just breaking a bit of the flow here, somebody asked the question earlier, but how do we do this? Maybe we have to start changing, going back to medical education, going back to the educational system. And that's the other thing. The educational system is old, is archaic. And same what the healthcare system. We just kept building and doing things in the same way over and over, and we don't ask questions. The world is changing. It has changed for many years, and it's changing very fast now. So maybe you should look all together at the educational system and the whole healthcare system. And that's what I'm going to talk today. So we need
one thing I want to throw in before you continue. I mean, you're speaking a lot about doctors and how we perceive each other and one another and how we interact with one another. But I think one thing we need to also address that's very important, and this happens to me in my practice on a daily basis almost, where patients are filling out their medical questionnaire that we give on a new patient. And for some reason, they disconnect the fact that we want to know about what's below the neck, what's, away from the mouth. They don't seem to get it that we need to know what's going on with the whole system. Because we administer, the drugs that clearly can affect blood pressure and other organ systems. And patients, for some reason, they have this thing that they're going in for a tooth and nothing else matters. Only all the dentist cares about is my tooth. And that, I think, also lays on our shoulders as clinicians, that we need to educate our patients why this is important, that we know what's going on with their entire bodies. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but please continue with whatever else you wanted to mention.
Yes, that's spot on. And I think, like you said, it's our goal to educate the patient. And when you understand, like we have to understand in order to do this, of course, we have to learn. We have to understand beyond just teeth. And that's what I've done all my life. So, okay, I go and learn about cancer, go and learn about oral cancer, go and learn a bit about psychiatry. I'm not going to become a psychiatrist. I'm not going to become a heart doctor, but I need a basic fundament of what else could be going on that is showing there or is reflecting with my patient. And that's why I don't like the name dentistry. I think we're not dentists, we're doctors of head and neck, full stop. So if you want to be dentists, we're just technicians. We can be technicians. Maybe there should be a degree for technicians. But I think we are far well beyond nowadays in dentistry that to be just called dentistry. And I think the nomenclature, that name, is what confuses patients. If patients say, oh, we are doctors of head and neck, this guy is a doctor. He can talk about sleep disorder breathing. He can talk about Alzheimer's to me, and I'll listen to him. So maybe go back to school, go back to nomenclature, maybe change, we need to change some things so the message is passed over to the patient, that they actually say, I can listen to that person. Until then, what do? I just show them I do have some general knowledge, and I show them, okay, this could be happening with you because of, is this happening? Oh, yes, how do you know? So then you build a trust because you have the knowledge. So we dentists play a fundamental role, for instance, in early detection of oral cancer and perform the gold standard treatment for prevention and treatment of oral mucositis, which is like post-cancer chemo and radiotherapy, those lesions that those patients will have. And with a removal of cancer of head and neck. So we use laser therapy for that, and that's the dentist who does it. We also, as dentists, produce the prosthetic reconstruction, the prosthesis for the mouth reconstruction before they even remove. This is how it should be, before they remove the cancer. And then we go there and rehabilitate with new prosthetics so they can eat and they can breathe without, because we put back the tissue that they lost with the removal of the cancer. I've been through all this. So we are in the core. And then we work together with the myofunctional therapy because some of these patients lost part of their soft palate and they have nassality. So during the constructions of this prosthesis, we will have to work together with myofunctional therapy until we establish the correct size of the prosthetics that, let's say, in a reconstruction of upper prosthetics. We treat sleep apnea. Now we can even remove, for some patients, we can get as far as removing them from CPAP. We offer gold standard treatment for sleep disorder breathing. So why are we still not talking to each other, to the general and to the specialist doctor who diagnose and treat other diseases like that? The way we dentists can incorporate integrative healthcare into our practices to use a well-coordinated, integrated care with different healthcare providers in our daily routine. We all need to stop being isolated doctors and build a working team with our communities of healthcare providers with similar approaches, using good and regular communication channel, but not only to refer patients, but to discuss the health of your patients. That's different. So teamwork is crucial if you want to have a patient-centered care. Another concern that I would like to raise here, which I think we're talking about the medical staff and all this. And another concern I would like to discuss here is that the World Health Organization have estimated that is in the next decade or so, there will be a global shortage of about 4.3 million healthcare workers, including physicians, nurses, and medical technologists, and healthcare alike. In response to the workforce shortages, countries worldwide have frequently turned to short-term contract staff, like traveling nurses or contract international doctors, to fill these gaps. Increasing the number of trained doctors is one way to combat future shortages. So we were earlier talking about, okay, how do you keep your staff and all that? But still, if you think about we're going to have a shortage in the future, we need to start again thinking as a team, because then soon, okay, how much you going to pay your staff? Same as you get, let's say, a dental nurse, because you can't get them, or a nurse in a hospital, because there won't be any. There won't be enough doctors. There won't be enough nurses. Won't be enough healthcare workers. So increasing the number of trained doctors is one way to combat future shortages. However, becoming a doctor requires several years of rigid and expensive training, and also quality undergraduate education. Adding to that, high cost of medical school combined with increasing number of schools dropout are significant issues that need to be addressed if we would ever want to prevent worsening physician supply shortages or nurse supply shortages that's predicted in the world. We're not talking about America now, talk about the whole world in the future. To avoid the collapse of the healthcare system, there is a need to develop a clear global strategy. It will require investment in the expansion of medical school places to ensure that there's enough teaching spaces, educator, clinical placements, foundation programs, specialty trainings to train enough new doctors. And of course, a supply of young workforce. This school system will need to be reformed to become more efficient, with reduced costs, to allow greater inclusion worldwide. Simple measures like changing part of the traditional classroom lessons to online education could help bring costs down. We united with the pandemic for the same cause. We searched for a solution for global warming together. Health is a global concern, especially in a globalized world where the spread of disease has no borders. The population is aging, and future pandemics are predicted to increase with global warming. We may be able to join forces globally to redesign a universal educational system and a universal healthcare system, both that would not only be more modern and efficient, but also focused on prevention and on the patient. A system where we doctors would work with each other as a team and not as a competitor. The Global Summit Institute platform and the IO conference in Italy and the Gala event provide us with a good platform to develop and expand this network and new concepts with our colleagues. We will have great opportunities to discuss with key opinion leaders the future direction of healthcare that affects all areas across the medical system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sonia. It was a wonderful chit-chat we had here, and it was very educational. I'll see you also in the Gala event. So it was a pleasure, and thanks again. And now I'd like to pick up with Dr. Aura Imbaros. And Dr. Aura will be talking also about something that Dr. Sonia kind of left off at the end, which is cooperation versus competition. Dr. Aura, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you so much, Dr. Pavel. Thank you for guiding my footsteps, on an early morning. Dr. Kianur, thank you so much for always having me and being part of this amazing group. Of course, it's great to see everybody else, and I can see that there are three ladies, the three musketeers, all dressed in red, and I definitely love that. And Robert, happy 39 once again. It's always going to be great, every year to be 39 once again. I know that for a fact. And thank you so much for stealing my, speech. I love it. Great minds think alike.
That's good. That's exactly what I noticed. There was a lot of overlap between a lot of.
But I love that. I love that because we all have a different approach, even if the topic, it might be, the same. So I'm going to start with a quote from Larry King, an interview in 1974. And it says, competition, it's dangerous, socially offensive, considered right and normal because you are brought up to that value system. What kind of a competition is there in your body? Suppose your brain says, I'm the most important organ. And the liver said, I am. And I want a free enterprise system. You would rot away in a month if every organ of your body went out for itself. And I think, because all of us are doctors in very many different fields, we all know that our whole body works in unity. So I really believe that the only competition for a wise man, actually, it's with himself. And so I would actually ask you to just think, where were you 5 years ago and how did you progress? What kind of new things have you picked up and excelled in? And what new friendships or partnerships did you form? According to positive psychology, we are the sum of our 5 best friends. So pretty much we see ourselves in those 5 people we hang out with the most. So if, let's say, one of them is lazy, then probably somehow we are also lazy as well. If somebody is very talkative, then probably we are talkative as well. So if you don't really like yourself, then probably you also have to look at your friends, right? And start there as well. When it's coming down to cooperation, I really believe that all boats can rise on a rising sea. And cooperation, actually, it's a matter of survival. So let's look at very big names. And you guys can chime in. So Bill Gates and Paul Allen, what did they have, together? What did they really create? So 1975, Bill and Ellen actually were childhood friends, and, they went to the same Lakeside private school. In 1975, they started Microsoft. Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield, they were sharing the love for food, and this pair actually took a correspondence course. I know, correspondence, okay? In 1977, based on ice cream making. Later on, actually, they invested $12,000 and they started their first ice cream shop, Ben and Jerry. Let's look at Jerry Yang and David Phillip. They met at Stanford in a PhD program in 1994, and in 1995, they started Yahoo. So they pretty much worked on a computer project by skipping their school. Yes, skipping their school. And they were surfing the web and created a list of their favorite sites. And that pretty much actually is going to morph into Yahoo. Evan Williams and Biz Stone. This pair was approached by Jack Dorsey and they created Twitter. William Proctor and James Gamble. In 1837, actually, they married the Norris sisters. And their father-in-law was actually the one that helped them create Procter & Gamble. So all of these huge enterprises, they didn't start because they had one single person. There was always a group of 2 or 3 people that started a movement. So let's finish with Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Woz was pretty much, he was a master of analytics. And he partnered up with Jobs, who actually had this foresight in business. And I'm actually going to end with this quote, by Steve Jobs. He said, "How do you change the world?" So I really believe by all of us being here and kind of like finishing up with Alexander Dumas, the Musketeers, the 3 Musketeers, it's kind of like one for all and all for one. And that's the only way we can change the world. Thank you.
Dr. Ora, thank you, and it's a pleasure always to see you. You're our Hollywood star. You're all over the place.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to know you and to be your friend. Competition, I look at it this way. Competition is a healthy thing when it's, thought of appropriately. Competition doesn't mean that we need to be cutthroat with each other, that we need to hide information. There's plenty of patience to go around for everyone. And ultimately, I think a successful practice requires a bit of competition. Otherwise, you start to forget that you need to develop further in your respective profession. So I encourage colleagues, be friends, share knowledge, look out to help each other. We're all a team. And if you really think about it, across the globe, there's so many political arguments, and in my opinion, some of them make absolutely zero sense. But that's politics. We're doctors, we're not politicians, and our duty and our calling in life is to help patients in the best and the cutting edge standards that are available today. So Dr. Ora, thank you very much, and I'll see you in Italy.
Absolutely.
Dr. Pretender, you're up on deck, my friend.
Yes.
Pleasure to
Dr.
see you,
Powell.
Dr. Singh. You are another movie star, I see you everywhere. Welcome to the show, Dr. Singh, and I know you have a very important assignment. You're going to be talking about the importance of good healthcare and also the Top Doctors Award ceremony. And I think that's really important because there's quite a bit of misconception. What does it mean to be a top doctor in our organization? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be the best in fixing a tooth or fixing a heart or whatever arena of healthcare you practice. What it means is that you've joined us during the COVID times, and you've put in quite a bit of your private time to join our initiative launched by Dr. Shah during COVID to start these seminars and to really, instead of sitting around home and doing nothing, many cases where we couldn't work, we couldn't really go out that much. We pioneered this movement where we shared scores and scores and scores of seminars, speakers from all over the world. And I want to personally like to extend a thank you to them for taking part. So this Gala event, Dr. Singh will talk about in more detail as well, where we will honor the top 100 doctors that have taken part. So Dr. Singh, the floor is yours, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Pavel. Those were real great words for the whole team of Global Summit. And I thank the whole team of the HEX Commission for giving us a chance to speak. And, you know, as Pavel asked me to mention about good healthcare system. Well, if I say healthcare is just a one strand of the large social fabric that determines our health, with the rest being determined by socioeconomic factors such as income, housing, diet, and personal choices. Yet, while the overall health is the result of an intricate, multifaceted ecosystem, healthcare still sits as one solid whole drawbridge which is always up, stubbornly disconnected from everything around it. Changing this, though, will take time, effort, and funding, things that many healthcare systems do not have. Essentially, our globe right now is not in such a good shape in terms of chronic diseases, aging populations, re-emergence of new infectious conditions, and the harsh reality is that we need to spend our dollars on this, not on reinventing the entire healthcare spectrum. So the good news, however, is that we need some reinvention in our system. And my dear friends, reinvention of healthcare system starts not with money, but with minds. So these minds are sitting here today, and many of these kind of minds are going to meet in Sardinia, as I'm going to talk about. So we are going to reinvent a good healthcare system to our best. We need to reevaluate deeply that healthcare providers may have a monopoly on healthcare decisions, particularly in developed countries with extensive regulations. But we need to solve these issues with our new techniques. So questioning this hard-fought authority, that who's going to be the authority of a healthcare, is a very delicate game. Firstly, it involves convincing healthcare providers that letting go all of decisions is not letting go of authority. It's simply freeing up the time and resources for something better. No one is losing control. Instead, everyone is gaining responsibility. Yes. So no one is above us, right? It's our responsibility. Next, it means educating the patient as well, that some of the responsibility lands with them as well. Traditionally, there is often a disconnect in how healthily the patient thinks they are living and how actually they are living. So the rest of the society also needs to play their part. So all of this is already happening on a basic level, and within their own silos, most elements are starting to talk about healthier living. So now we need those voices to get together, because that's the only way we'll get louder. So this is the theme of a doctor to doctor movement. We need to, join with many similar minds to create a great healthcare system with mind, not money. Now, as Dr. Pavel asked me, the second part of my topic, focus on rewards and recognition. So we have a World Gala being organized in Sardinia in collaboration with AIO. And this all came up during the last year amazing event when few of the Dream Team members and the Global Summit regents and, chairpersons sitting on a lunch table and a dinner table discussing our points and, people, key opinion leaders and many doctors listening to us. They wanted to collaborate with us because of our, movement just in favor of the doctors. We're not talking money. We're just talking, healthcare, we're talking of doctor to doctor, we're talking of knowledge. So, many of them really wanted to collaborate. And today we are here discussing our event is already, in the next year. And we are supposedly getting a lot of responses and confirmations. And I can foresee a great event. I'm already thinking I'm busy for the event, planning, and Goren knows what kind of planning we have to do, and Dr. Kenner and me, we are in the organizing team. Yeah, so it's a pleasure to host. Now listen, next point. Why a World Gala night? Why rewards? Why a recognition? So reward and recognition is but one part of the large framework of any employee satisfaction. So we talk of doctors. It is a vital factor in the process of motivation, personal enrichment, and self-esteem, commitment, loyalty, etc. Plus, it's a powerful recruiting tool for those who see their employees practicing ownership and being celebrated for their efforts. So through celebrating with these awards, with the doctors we have chosen with our election teams from throughout the globe, we are giving a chance to all these doctors, no money involved. We have just selected them. We have called them to Sardinia to receive their awards so that they can show great turnover rates at their practice, improve productivity, higher patient satisfaction. That's our motive. It is, again, our World Gala event. The aims are relating to doctor movement. So we have a great plan to honor these doctors. I remember mentioning, why don't we have a red carpet event? And to that, Keanu and Enrico agreed on the spot. Why not some Oscar event for the doctors? We're not less than anyone, right? So red carpet was a traditional way to honor someone who's a celebrity or an otherwise distinguished person. We are a celebrity. We are distinguished persons. We are doctors, right? So we have some nice red carpet welcomes. You can come in your fancy tuxes and gowns. Though the award winners will be wearing their costume, yes. But after that, we have a lot of interaction with key opinion leaders. So we have a grand gala night with key opinion leaders, almost 1,000 doctors, and many VIPs, and we have a lot of interactions on that day. It's going to be a gala dinner with gala prizes for the top doctors of 2021, 22, 23, etc. And if I tell you, the event next day will have a lot of other activities by the AIO. So in addition to the Doctors World Gala, where everyone is going to be rewarded on the first day and being top doctors, we have the next day, which is full of knowledge and information and interactions. And in the evenings, we have great shows. We have a great wellness, which she's Anne, which she's a global, wellness of fame. So we're going to listen to her. And the next day, we again have a nice dinner, interactions. So, it's the World Gala, the AIO event. It's a mixture of fun, frolic, knowledge, everything. And you know what? We are actually going to start a global charter of the movement of doctor to doctor in Italy at the Gala event. We are going to create some global oversight committees, and we are going to regulate all the regulators. This is our aim of, few of our aims, what we are going to discuss. And we have AOS, we have IDAFE, we have the HEX Commission, we have the AIO, we have the global summits. These are the few which I remember who are joining for a great event. There are many, my dear friends, many companies, many KOLs who are going to join. We are going to discuss, we are going to talk about doctor to doctor. And believe me, if we are at a score of 10 here or 20 or 30, we are going to reach almost 100 in this event, because we just discussed it at a dinner table at the last conference to this event. And now we are going to actually, do this event. And yes, I'm hoping a great success in all this. everything will be with your great cooperation. And also, if I tell you that in the gala and the AIO event and the dinners, we will be talking about our new relationship of doctor to doctor. And also, if I tell you that the doctor to doctor movement is not influenced by any of the higher persons sitting on us, if you don't mind taking an example of WHO, who is governed by UN, like they are answerable to everyone. Doctor to doctor, they're not answerable to anyone. We work in harmony. We get results. We make plans. We execute them. So doctor is a very independent kind of a movement. And I would also like to say that these points which I mentioned, they're actually going to happen. And I ask everyone to please be a part of it. It is not to be missed event, not at all. Also, if anyone listening to us wants to connect, just type or search for hashtag doctor to doctor, and you can connect to us. Anyone who mentions hashtag doctor to doctor can connect to us anytime, and any one of us will reply, and like minds are welcome to our team. You know what? We love who believe in doctor to doctor, right? So I loved today speaking on the philosophical aspect rather than what I speak in history all the time. I love speaking on this aspect. And one thing I would say that whatever I've told about the event, the first comment in the chat box of the Hex Commission video, in the first comment, you will have all the links which will be related to the conference, the Gala event. Please refer to that. Get yourself registered, pack your bags, take your tickets. See you there. So lastly, I would request all the Hex Commission people to please make a sign of victory for doctor to doctor movement. All of you, please. Yes, here we go as a sign of victory for doctor to doctor. Thank you very much.
Dr. Singh, it's always a pleasure, and thank you for your insights, and thank you for all the information you provided to our audience. And having said that, I'd like to close with a few comments. So we're facing a new era of healthcare, and when I say new era, there is technology is expanding, computers, softwares, programs, electric equipment that we use, the CT scanners. Stuff is really exploding where it's going, but at the forefront of this new era of healthcare, I think the doctor movement and unity is key. So I want to thank especially all of our commissioners today for joining us. I'd like to thank our audience for being here. Of course, we owe everything to you guys out there in the audience and to our colleagues across the world. And clearly and certainly, I hope to see all of you at the World Gala event in Italy, in Sardinia, in June next year. And lastly, guys and friends out there, I hope and we hope on our behalf that you have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever holidays you may celebrate in your culture. We wish you a safe holiday season, and stay well and be blessed. See you guys next year.